All right, ladies and gentlemen, most of you know me, so I'm gonna do a crash course on who I am as a person, and then I do retirement planning seminars, so I'm actually gonna take you guys through about a 4 to 5 part series. Today's part 1, where there's a stress ball where I take you through the fiscal irresponsibility of our country and why we're all in some deep shit. All right, so just a little bit about professionally, fiduciary, retirement income professional, accredited investment fiduciary, national social security planning, Slot Elite IRA advisor. Just basically a deep dive in my industry that I do more than just sit in my office, get on an airplane, go train, different accreditation. I'm currently working on my tax certified professional designation as well, because taxes are very important. How they intermix in retirement and trying to reduce our taxes is super important. So a little bit about my service. So a lot of the bases that you guys are seeing on the news with Iran, I rotated all through those in my deployments. So 2002 I was in Kuwait, Qatar in 04, and Iraq in 06. And here I am. I was a weapons loader on the F-16, GBUs, 52s, 57s, AIM-9s. That was all me. So, and this is this guy right here out there on the flight line. So feels like a millennia ago, but with all the news cycles going on right now, it's bringing back a lot of memories. But like as Candy mentioned, like that was super foundational for me. Like I was in Kuwait, I was 19 years old. Couldn't even legally drink a beer. I was downrange, first deployment. My girlfriend broke up with me, so I was very alone. 6 months, one of the most humbling experiences of my life, but I grew the most as an individual in that moment. This is after I got broken up with. I'm teasing, that's from a different deployment. Here's my beautiful wife. This is my Valor Y 2.0. My military foundation is a lot of why I got into this industry. But here's the family. Here's Eliana. There's Pierce. And this was the one that was supposed to be here today, my shameless prop who didn't show up. So that's Colette. Diversity of clients. I work with a lot of different clients. I work from pro athletes all the way down to someone who's starting a 529 plan for their children and everybody in between. And one of the things I got into the industry for was to make sure people could be helped. Quick story, my dad was an American Airlines pilot, Big 3 declared bankruptcy. I watched my dad lose half his pension, take a 30% pay cut, still get back in the cockpit to fly the airplane. So that's why I got in the industry, was to help people. To be foundationally, not say there's a certain minimum you have to come talk to me. No, I've scaled my practice to help everybody. So we're gonna segue into some new retirement realities in our country. Interest rates, world banks, high frequency trading. So these are the things I talk about in retirement planning seminars. So we're about to get a crash course, so buckle up, okay? I talk fast, I'm trying to slow it down, but we got a lot of content because I only got 6 minutes and 58 seconds to go. All right, national debt. $40 trillion and counting. This is just a quick snapshot of the debt clock. Projected fiscal budget. We bring in expenditures 7.4. That's what we got to spend. Revenues 5.8. We got a deficit of 1.5. That was the projected. Here's the real dollars. Federal spending 7. Federal income 5.2. Deficit 1.7. 2 and 1 are two numbers are 2 and 1 are what I want you to take away from this workshop. We borrow almost $2 trillion a year, every year. That's why the national debt will continue to climb from 40 to 42 to 50 to 55 to 60. And that all assumes everything's rosy. No recessions, no 9/11, no world wars, no national disasters. That just assumes everything's humming along honky-dory. Anybody want to know why we spend $2 trillion more than we take in? Why? Mandatory expenditures, which we're about to get to. Medicare, Social Security, Medicaid. So how they divide it up? 51% goes to Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. That's today. 10,000 a day, boomers are retiring, claiming their Social Security benefits, going on Medicare, and or we have Medicaid for people who cannot qualify for Medicare or are in a situation that they need help. In the state of Arizona, it's called access. So these systems are built to be supportive. Remember I said there's $2 trillion in spending. We have $1 trillion that we pay on our interest on our national debt. $1 trillion. That's at today's rates. So when we hear Congress talk about discretionary spending, we're talking about non-discretionary defense and defense spending. So we got 34% of the budget that's what is haggled on CNBC, Fox News, CNN, MS Now, whatever you see it on. So we have this massive budget deficit that's not truly being addressed, where 66% of the money is already being expended or already accounted for. And you got 34% that's the big haggling points. One of the things I talk a lot about taxes. I say this before and I'll say it again. You need to reduce your footprint in the tax code. Very strategically, I say that for a reason. This is the reason. And this is going to continue to grow and become ballooning in our national debt. You've got to get yourself out of the tax code and start to privatize your wealth. So, Social Security, here's trust fund data. You got 2.7 coming in. I'm sorry, here's the trust fund balance, 2.12 coming in. Social Security benefits recipients 55, interest on the trust fund 69, total income 1417 versus expenditure of 1418. Does anybody want to tell me, is that more money going out or more money coming in? Okay. We're spending more on Social Security benefits than we're taking in. In 2034, the trust fund is set to be insolvent. What that means is the trust fund can only pay 77% of benefits promised. That doesn't mean you can't pay benefits. It means they can only pay 77% of benefits. So when I talk to my retirees, as a fiduciary, I prudently talk about what happens if we take a 25% reduction in each of your Social Security benefits. And they're like, well, that's not going to happen. It could very well happen. So I would be remiss to not talk to my clients and those saving for retirement about how to plan for this event. And I'm going to tell you, this is my opinion, I think the event's going to happen. They're all going to stand up on some big stage, big unilateral Republicans, Democrats, say, listen, we screwed up, everyone's taking a reduction. The pain across the board is how they solve it. They're not going to cherry pick, they're just going to say, everyone, we can't do it. Sorry. Medicare, here's your trust fund balance, payroll taxes, general revenues. As it sits today, Medicare is slightly better, but not great. So one of the things I talk about here, I just mentioned that 25% reduction in Social Security benefits. So for those of you who have Social Security and you're paying FICA, you can't really get away from it. But what I would encourage you to do is start to save in parallel for Social Security to a reduced benefit. I think James at 44 has a reduction in his benefit. I think they means test income, and I think they provide benefits for those who don't have as much saved, and they punish the savers. I think that's what's coming. So what happens if the government spends too much? We file bankruptcy, probably not going to happen as the world's reserve currency. Cut expenses. Good luck finding anybody in DC who's willing to cut expenses. Okay, we got to increase revenue. This is where I think it happens. Who has a 401k or an IRA? Good, you guys are you're the solution. You're the solution. So I think at the Congressional Budget Office, if tax rates were to at least double in order to pay promised benefits of Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, double. Let's do a quick analysis here. John and Mary, $500,000, they're in a 20% bracket. Pretty common story today. In addition to Social Security benefits, they're going to take out $20,000 of income. To take out $20,000, they have to gross up their withdrawal to $25,000. Pay taxes at 20%, right? That's how they get their net 20%. 4% withdrawal. Very, very sustainable. But if taxes double, anybody want to guess what 25 becomes to net the 20? Who said 30? Very close. 33. But you know what that withdrawal rate goes to? 6.6. It's about the distribution factor that changes in the sustainability of your dollars as you have to take out more money just if tax rates double. And I'm telling you, they're going after the wealth right here. Thank you for saving, because you guys are the backstop. So, quick conclusion, mathematically, government will need to either cut expenses to increase revenue. Increase taxes is where I think that they're going to, federal, state, and local. Massive increase in money. You've already seen some of this in quantitative easing, but it could be a combination of both of these, but I can guarantee you your taxes are going up. And when their taxes are going up is when you're in the distribution phase of your life, where you have the fewest amount of deductions. So you pay more in taxes. How can we help? Macro tax planning come to be for the longer term. Go to Najib for the year-over-year deductions. Efficient tax wealth management, and be better prepared for retirement. And that's just part of the story. Part 2 is coming. That's it.